Prepare for an unforgettable journey. Listen to our AI-generated podcast review of Chapter 10, Witch Trinity, The Calling, a treat for fans of the supernatural. A new chapter of the podcast will be available weekly, so subscribe or click the notification bell to not miss out. And please share the link with others. Enjoy the podcast.
All right, so are you ready to dive into the final chapter of Witch Trinity, The Calling?
Oh, absolutely.
By David Jones?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're specifically looking at Serena in chapter 10, where Jones, really turns up the heat.
Yeah, it's really the culmination of everything, that we've seen so far, and it pushes Serena to her absolute limit. I mean, physically, emotionally, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, we find Serena in a really, really bad spot. Picture this. She's trapped in this nightmarish building. She's being hunted by this, seriously powerful baddie. But, here's the worst part. She's forced to watch her boyfriend, Simon, die over and over again.
Oh, God.
Talk of psychological torture.
Yeah, the dread that Jones creates in this chapter. I mean, it just oozes off the page. And it's not just the physical danger, it's that emotional torment, right?
Right.
Of reliving that loss over and over and over again. It really makes you wonder how much a person can take before they just completely break.
Totally. And the way that Jones uses dreams to kind of blur what's real and what's not is just super unsettling.
Yeah.
So Serena keeps having this dream, right? And it always has these things in it. A garden, an old woman, this weird red liquid, and then this crazy fire that consumes everything. And the dream always, always ends with the phrase, the transfer is complete.
The transfer is complete. That's creepy, man. It's like this ominous countdown or something.
Yeah, but here's where it gets super interesting for me. Serena keeps saying how the dream feels too real. And considering she's going through this whole other nightmare, that's got to mean something. What do you think about that?
I think Jones is hinting at something more, like a deeper manipulation of reality, maybe. Like what she thinks is a dream is somehow bleeding into her waking life, or who knows, maybe it's the other way around. It makes you question if anything is really what it seems.
It does. And is that why she's clinging to this idea that if the pain is bad enough, really, really bad, she'll wake up? It's kind of a desperate hope, but I get it,
Yeah. Of course, it's like this primal instinct, right, to escape suffering, even if that escape is just an illusion.
Yeah, totally.
The crow, she can't just steal Serena's power. It has to be relinquished willingly. Or, well, what the curse deems a natural death.
So suicide would actually play right into the crow's hands.
Exactly.
And speaking of escape, things are about to get even more intense as the stakes are raised in this whole nightmare.
For sure.
But before we jump into that, I got to ask. What do you think about this whole dream thing, especially that phrase, the transfer is complete? Is Jones trying to tell us something we should be paying attention to?
Well, let's just say that in this world, dreams are rarely just dreams.
Right.
But to really get into it, I think we need to look at what happens when Serena and Simon confront this woman.
So we've got this seriously messed up dream, questions about what's real and what's not, and then bam, Jones throws us right into this confrontation between Simon, Serena, and the woman.
And he really doesn't hold back on how brutal it gets,
Yeah.
He paints the super vivid picture of how powerful she is. I mean, she's teleporting. She's throwing around these crazy energy blasts.
Right.
It's obvious she's just playing with them at that point. Especially Simon.
Yeah. And you see Simon's, courage really come through in this chapter, even though he's totally outmatched, which makes it even more heartbreaking to read,
Yeah.
He knows he's going to die, but he keeps fighting to protect Serena anyway.
It speaks to how much she loves her, you know? But it also kind of makes you wonder, can love really conquer anything, even in a situation like this? Because it's so twisted, so dark.
It's a question that kind of hangs over the whole chapter, right?
Definitely.
And it leads to Serena making this huge decision, I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So she decides to sacrifice herself, to stop the pain, to escape the nightmare.
Even if it means,
ending her own life.
Exactly.
Which is, wow, it's a decision that comes from a dark place, Despair, this need to take back control.
And to save Simon, too, right? Even if it means letting go.
Right.
So what do you think? Is it more about her love for Simon or her own need to do something, to have some agency in all this?
Honestly, it's both, right? I mean, she's giving up in a way, surrendering. but she's also making a choice. And the way Jones describes it all, they need Simon to do something truly horrifying.
What do they need Simon to do?
They need him to kill Serena.
Kill Serena. And boom, everything changes, right?
Cue the magic. We get this surge of energy, this merging, and suddenly it's not just Serena, there are 2 other witches.
A Witch Trinity, finally.
Right, like we knew it was coming, but still, the way Jones describes it.
Epic doesn't even begin to cover it. He gives us this glimpse of pure power, like cosmic level stuff, talking about manipulating matter at its core.
See, this is what I love about Jones. He could have just said, oh yeah, powerful witches, they do magic. But no, he grounds it in the laws of physics, makes you believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't just some arbitrary magic system.
Yeah.
This power, it's woven into the fabric of the universe.
So it's more than just Serena tapping into some mystical force.
Way more. It's like Serena's power, it's not isolated. It's connected to this whole lineage, this legacy that she's only just starting to understand. Serena dying, as awful as it was, it's like a trigger.
Yeah.
Like her sacrifice, her love, it caused this ripple.
Exactly. And it's wild because Jones uses all this scientific language to describe something totally mystical. You know, particles, energy waves, matter being manipulated.
So like magic is just science we don't get yet or something?
Maybe. But there's another layer. The Witch Trinity, they have this safeguard woven into their very beings. If Serena dies any other way, the moment she dies, they'd heal her, break the curse, maybe even shield them from the crow's knowledge. But anyway, we have this huge cosmic thing happening, this Witch Trinity firing up for a second.
And then what?
Well, that's where things get really unsettling. Like,
yeah.
Jones just throws us headfirst into this whole new reality.
It's crazy, right? Like 1 second we're dealing with sacrifice, this whole cosmic energy thing, the fabric of reality.
Wow.
And then suddenly, boom, we're back in the cafe. Almost like it was all a dream, literally.
Yeah. It's such a crazy contrast. Beyonce's ringtone is going off. People are talking about job interviews and coffee dates. So normal makes you wonder if any of that messed up stuff actually happened, you know? Or if it was all in Serena's head.
Well, it's fiction, but it does make you think about like how our minds deal with trauma and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
That need to just grab onto something normal, you know?
Absolutely.
But even with that, Jones doesn't let us off the hook completely. There's this feeling, this unease, like something's still wrong. What do you think about that?
I think it's brilliant, honestly. He leaves us with this feeling that, yeah, things aren't right. Is this a real reset for Serena? Like, can she actually move on from all that? Or is something else going on? Like, echoes of that other reality are bleeding through.
And then there's that final scene in the cafe.
Oh, I love this part.
Me too.
Oh.
So Serena sees this man watching them.
Creepy, right?
Yeah. And he seems strangely familiar.
Ooh.
He's described as having an almost angelic quality, which immediately made me think back to that figure in her dream.
Oh, wow. Good point.
It's a brilliant cliffhanger, leaving us with more questions than answers.
Ugh, so good.
Is this man an ally, drawn to Serena because of the transfer and the emergence of the Witch Trinity?
Right.
Or is he something more sinister, a harbinger of dangers to come?
Who knows?
Right. Like, is he there to help Serena? Or is he there to contain whatever power she's unleashed? I need to know.
And that, my friend, is why we can't wait to dive into The Glove, the next book in the series.
Ugh, I know. I can't wait.
We need answers.
Seriously. So, to all our listeners out there, we leave you with this. What would you do if you found yourself in Serena's shoes?
That's a tough one.
Would you trust your gut, even when faced with impossible choices? And what do you think this Witch Trinity means for Serena's future? Keep those questions in mind as you turn the pages, because we have a feeling the answers are going to be epic. Until next time, keep diving deep.